Hey everybody, and welcome back to the latest edition of NateFlix. Today we are talking about Long Shot, the political romantic comedy with Charlize Theron and Seth Rogen. Is it a must-see? Is it a not for me? We're going to tell you today on NateFlix. Hey everybody, and welcome back. Today I'm giving you my review of Long Shot. Long Shot is the political romantic comedy starring Charlize Theron, that is pronounced right, did my research today. Thank you very much. And Seth Rogen. Now, it is a movie you would expect from Seth Rogen. It is definitely an R-rated comedy. A movie that, depending on your age and your comfort level with your parents, you might not want to go see together. There's a little bit of very vulgar uses of things that come out of people, that go on people that shouldn't, that it makes me a little uncomfortable to talk about. And I know that I'm probably having family right now that's like, oh, should I listen to this? That's what the movie is, but that's fine. That's about as R-rated as we're going to get today. So Long Shot, what is it? What is it about? It is about Charlize Theron. She is a Secretary of State, and she is the Secretary under State under Bob Odenkirk, one of my favorite actors. Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad, Mr. Show with Bob and David. He's wonderful. He is a very theatrical president. What I mean by that is he is an actor that was elected to be president. So he's not so much the smartest person and the most qualified person to ever run for president. And he calls Charlize Theron into her office and he says, I am not running for re-election, and therefore I would like to endorse you to be the next president. Now, there's a little bit of political commentary going on here. I'm not going into it. I don't think that this is a movie that is a parody that's coming hard after who our president is now. Obviously, when you're dealing with politics, you're kind of one side or the other, and it can get a little bit of touchy. And this movie, I don't think is much of a political commentary on things that are happening, but it just so happens to kind of have fun with a president who isn't necessarily a politician going hard. And so that leads the way for a very qualified politician. That is what Charlize Theron plays. So she starts her campaign and she kind of goes over the numbers. And one of the numbers lacking is her humor. They don't think she's a very funny person. Well, conveniently enough, that night she goes to a party where Boys to Men is playing, and she meets the character of Seth Rogen, who is going to be her romantic counterpart. Seth Rogen plays a journalist who was just fired from his newspaper for having two controversial takes because they were just purchased out by a big-time money man, lobbyist, kind of Fox Newsy feelings there about being purchased and censoring certain takes and certain opposing viewpoints. So they meet, they know each other from their childhood, and at first things go the certain ways, and then she asks for him to come be a part of her team. So they join. He adds his political funniness to her. It kind of tells her to be more rounded, more in terms of your childhood. And I don't want to go too much on the plot because I want you to see this movie. There's your take. I like this movie. It's funny. It is refreshing because it's taking politics, and politics is not something that are necessarily funny all the times. It's something you kind of have to be careful. Do you bring it up around family members? Do you not? Do you be honest with what you feel, or do you kind of keep it censored? It's very rarely you can just bring it out in the open and laugh about it. So it's nice to see a movie that you can see politics in the background and laugh and kind of get an idea of what happens behind the scenes. Charlize Theron is fantastic. She's what makes this movie what it is. If this movie starred Jennifer Aniston or Katherine Heigl, for sake, this would be forgettable. It would not be worth your time. It wouldn't be what it is. Charlize Theron brings this sorts of brevity and seriousness and drama to a role that's very funny. And so for that, you kind of connect a little bit. There are so many funny scenes in this movie scenes that made me laugh out loud. It was kind of funny. Some of the jokes are a little higher level or kind of playing back into 90s nostalgia to where I think I was the only person in the theater laughing out loud, which is kind of embarrassing, but also kind of like, they made that joke for me. They made that joke for me. And I always appreciate that. Boys to Men plays a big part in this movie. And a little fact about Nate over here, he is one of the first two albums he ever bought. One of them was Boys to Men 2. So they had a very special place in my heart. They're great. O'Shea Jackson Jr., Ice Cube's son, is hilarious. He's outstanding. He has a huge future. Ingrid Goes West is the movie he kind of made his big splash in. That is one from the vault that I suggest for all people to see. So to summarize what I thought about the movie, I really enjoyed it. I had a great time. It's heartwarming. The love story's great. It's not too sappy. The connection is real. You care about both of them. Seth Rogen knows what to do. He knows who he is. He doesn't step out of the box that he has formed for himself. That's so great and has made him a lot of money. He's hilarious. He's funny. He's a perfect counterpart to Charlize Theron. She's wonderful. She has all the right steps. I really enjoyed this movie. My one complaint is it's too long. There should be a rule that if your movie is a comedy, it's not over 2 hours. There is no comedy in this world that is worthy of being that long. Not enough things can happen that make it justified. I just don't understand why movies have to be so long. There are a lot of scenes in here that reminded me of some deleted scenes that you would see on the DVD. And like, this made it in? Why? I don't know. So I don't know if someone was a little bit too afraid to go to the director to be like, okay, we should cut this down about 20 minutes. This scene doesn't really need to be here. It's funny, but we'll put it on the DVD. You can have your director's cut. No one said this to director Jonathan Levine. That's my only complaint. It's just a little bit too much of what it's trying to do. If this movie was about an hour 40, it would be so smooth, so great, so enjoyable, constant movement, interacting, everything would just have been great. So that's what keeps this from being outstanding. I'm on NateFlix. We like to give our movie grades. I'm going to give this movie a B+. We've got to establish some sort of credibility here. B+ is great for a comedy that's going to be about as good as you're ever really wanting to expect. It's perfect for the summer. It's the wonderful, great option to Avengers Endgame. Very serious movies out there. So it's kind of nice to have something a little lighter fare, something that's funny, something that will make you definitely smile for the entire time. So Long Shot is good. Go see it. It's getting the NateFlix seal of approval. We'll see you next week on NateFlix.